how to install a silent 18mm fan in the original Xbox. So most users just put up with the noise. They just presume the Xbox is noisy, there's nothing you can do about it. But you can have a lovely, completely silent Xbox. And it will take you, well, it should take you no more than an hour to complete this. So, and it's very cheap as well. It's a very cheap mod to do. You know, shouldn't cost you any more than about £5. So let's have a look and see what you've got to do. Okay, got your Xbox. So what you're going to need is a flathead screwdriver like this, and flip the Xbox over. And what you're going to see is you've got your 4 rubber feet. You just need to prise those off. So they're just held on by glue. So get your screwdriver under there and prise those off. So I'm just going to speed this up for this section. Right, while we're fast forwarding through this, what you're going to need is a set of Torx screwdrivers for the next step. So like the one shown here, it's a star-shaped screwdriver. So yeah, get a set of those. And make sure it is the star-shaped ones and not the hex ones, which are hexagonal. If you end up using those, you'll end up ruining the screws. So it has to be the Torx ones, which are star-shaped. So that's it. Just take all the screws out. And then what we're going to find, once we've got all these 4 screws out, there are still 2 more hidden screws. So literally, all you have to do is locate those 2 screws. They're hidden under a couple of stickers. So the first one is just there, just behind the serial number 1. You can feel it. You can feel a little dent. So just pop your screwdriver straight through where you can feel that dent, and then you can start twisting it out. So get that one out there. And the other one, flip the Xbox over again, and it's just there in that silver sticker there. You can feel it push down into the hole, and oops, and yeah, push down into the hole, and you can unscrew it. And there you go. That's all the 6 screws out. So you can now safely open the Xbox. So flip it over and open the lid, and there we have everything inside. What we need to do is really take everything out of this Xbox. Okay, so try and remember where everything goes. First things you got to do is take out the screws. So you've got a little screw there holding that in place, and this is another different sized Torx screwdriver that you use for that one. So pull out the IDE cable, and then you need to struggle and try and get out the power cable without breaking anything. You may need to just put like a little screwdriver or something just behind the clips at the back there, just to ease it out a bit. So just give it a little ease out, and then it'll come out easier. As you can see there we go, it's out. So there you go. That's the hard drive. So we can untangle that bit of wire. So we've got our hard drive out, and now we can see the motherboard under there. We've got the power supply, and we've also got the DVD drive that we need to take out. So we've got a couple of screws in there as well. So use the same screwdriver that you used to take out that last screw. And there's a couple of screws holding it in place. So there's one just there on the right, and there's also one on the left. So this is all real time at the moment. I've not sped anything up, by the way. And so then we've got the one on the left, which is just down there. Unscrew that. Right, so now we're ready to pull out the DVD drive. It should just lift straight up, but you've got to be careful. There's a couple of wires on the back. So you've got the IDE cable, that can come straight out. Just pull straight out. And you've also got a little yellow power cable. So just pull that one out as well, and we're free. Okay, so that's the DVD drive out, that's the hard drive out. Now this next bit, what we need to do is we need to basically unattach everything and undo all the screws. So so that's the fan at the back there. It's got a little cable on the motherboard, so we can just flip that off, And yeah, and now we can go about taking out all of these screws. So every screw that you see holding it onto the motherboard, we're going to undo those. So I'm just going to forward this bit up a little bit. Right, that's all the screws out there now. So we just need to take the power supply, the power cable off of the motherboard. So that can be a bit tight and stiff. It's got a little clip thing that you just need to press in and pull up. Then we need to take out the gain port wires, which are on the front, and also the reset and power buttons that are linked onto the motherboard. They just pull straight out, and then you can pull this motherboard out carefully. There we go. So that's the motherboard out, and then we're just left with the power supply. Okay, so that's just got two little screws that hold that in. So we've got one at the top there, and the other one's quite well hidden down at the bottom. It's usually got a few wires in front of it. So we'll undo this one, and then a one down there. We'll undo that one as well. So it's just two wires, and then you just sort of pull it, take the screws out, and then pull the thing towards you, and then pull it up. There you go, and it's out. So we're basically done now. I mean, that's now all we've got to do is get this silly fan out. So it's you need to get a little screwdriver down the side, because it's got a couple of clips holding it in place. So try to be careful not to break them. They do break fairly easy. It's not the end of the world if you do break them, but it's nice to have them intact if you can. So just loosen that clip, and then that should be able to pull upwards, that fan. Once it's sort of unclipped, you should be able to pull it up and then pull it straight out. It's a little bit finicky. Ideally, I'd use a smaller screwdriver than this, to be quite honest. That's not ideal. Right, there we go. That's got it. So that is now out. We can just pull that straight out, and that can go in the bin. I don't actually want that anymore. They're useless. So there we go. And whilst you've got everything open, you may as well clean the Xbox. Okay, so if you've got a dishwasher, these are great. Just take out all of the bits and bobs and stick them in the dishwasher. So obviously don't put the electrical components in, just the plastic. So undo the two screws holding the left gain port, and then there's another couple of screws holding the right gain port as well. And yeah, you'll find that once you've cleaned it, it will look so much nicer. There you go. That just pulls sort of upwards and then outwards. And exactly the same with that side. Try and remember which side goes on which side, because the leads are slightly different sizes, just to match up with the board. And this silver bit, you can pull this out. It's a bit of jiggery pokery. It's sort of clipped on with little sort of metal clip things. Plastic is sort of clipped into the metal, so it does require a little bit of force. You've got to you've got to try and prise the metal from the little plastic grommet type things, but it will come. As you can see here, it is coming. It's just yeah, as you can see, it can take a couple of minutes. So I'm just going to speed that up a second. And there we have it. It's finally out. So what we need to do is cut that grill out. So that little section at the back, we need to cut that out, because otherwise the fan will clip on it, and you'll find that the fan isn't actually working. It sort of stops because it clips on there. So just get a pair of sort of wire cutters. These are rusty things. I could do with upgrading these really, and just go through each section and snip. So I'm just going to forward this a little bit quicker. And whilst we're doing this, you'll probably notice bits of dust flying around everywhere. Sorry about that. That's the hazards of opening up a 10-year-old console. It does tend to get filled up with a load of dust. So anyway, right, we've done it. That's the final snip just here. and there we go, it's off. So that can be binned. You don't need that. What you've got is some jagged edges. Okay, so really, what I would recommend is getting something to sand those off with. So you know, maybe a Dremel, or if you've got a Dremel, that'll do the job. Now you need to undo your hard drive. So it's another sized Torx screwdriver. So in total you have 3 different sized Torx screwdrivers. So just undo the screws on that. There's 2 on each side holding the hard drive in. And the reason we have to take that out is because we've got to make a cut in this. So you don't want bits of plastic getting in your hard drive. So just take the screw out there, and then the final one over there. Right, and that just pulls straight out. So we can put that to one side. Now with our hard drive caddy, we just need to mark where we're going to cut. So I'm just using a junior hacksaw for this, but I'll do the actual proper cutting with a full-size hacksaw. So just there. Okay, so a few mil just past where it goes down, and you want to cut in line with the edge of that sticker. So yeah, I'm just marking these up. And we're also going to need our DVD caddy. We're just going to make a small little incision in there, a little cut into that. So what you need to do is cut down there. I don't know if you can quite make that out, but I'll just mark that. So it's down there and into the groove there. So you're basically cutting off sort of a corner of that sort of circular section coming down. So you know, cut into there and cut into the other side, and then you'll find that that's all good. Well, I've done the cuts now. So you can see there we've cut straight across the top of the sticker and down into that section that sort of comes down there at the back. You see it's pretty filthy still. So really what I want to do is stick all this in the dishwasher, but that's the incision you need to make. That's where the fan is going to go. So that's why we need to make that incision. And the reason we cut that other little section off of the DVD, so you can see there, it's just sort of about a third of that circular section we've cut off. We've cut that off because the fan needs just that extra little bit of room, because it's a slightly bigger fan than the stock Xbox fan. So what we've got here is we've got the lid. We might as well sorry, we've got the base, so let's take that apart as well. So you can just unclip these sections at the side. Be very careful because they can be quite brittle and it can break fairly easy. But yeah, we might as well take that off and put all this in the dishwasher, get it all clean. So there you go, that comes off. So that's all ready to go in the dishwasher, that section there. And this bit here, we just need to take out the power, the sort of power switch thing. So what we have to do, if you can see that, I don't know, there's a little tab there. Okay, so press that in, give that a push, and you'll find on the other side, and there's little tabs at the top as well that you can just sort of get your fingernail under and undo. So what you'll find is, there we go, that section at the front comes off, and that's really grimy. Some kids had this Xbox before me by the looks of it. It's filthy. And then this bit just kind of slots out. There's a little tab at the bottom just sort of clipping it in place. So you can see you can't actually get it out until you've undone that tab at the bottom, and it just pops out, and there you are. Now you're all good. Everything is all set to go in that dishwasher, and you'll find it comes out lovely and clean. So let's give that a go. Right, I stuck everything in the dishwasher. When I say everything, all the plastic parts and all the sort of metal casing, but not the circuit board. And as you can see, lid and everything, it's all lovely and clean. The front's all clean. That grubby bit that we had at the start, let's have a look at that. Well, let's pop the electrics in first. So that just clips into place, clips into those tabs. and then we've got our little plastic cover that goes on the front. So that was the bit that was all grubby and horrible. There we go, as you can see, nice and shiny now. So we can just clip that into place. There you go, that literally just pops in there and you'll hear a click. Once it's clicked, it's done. And yeah, you can hook that back onto the case now, and you can see the nice shiny new metal inlay as well. Make sure everything is completely dry before putting it back together. So if you have used the dishwasher, leave it in there for quite a while. Don't open the door or anything, just leave it very hot and let everything dry. You know, you don't want anything wet going in with your circuitry and frying anything. So yeah, pop your case in, your silver coloured your metal inlay thing. Pop that in and make sure every single corner is completely down. It should be totally level with the case. This is where I personally go wrong myself, so I'm sure plenty of other people do it as well. If it's not level all the way around with the plastic, you won't be able to close the case properly. So just push it down properly in every corner. Okay, so I'm just going to do that, and then we'll come on to the next part of the guide with the fan, how to sort the fan out. Right, now when it comes to the fans, what we need is the 80mm silent fans. So we've got this black one here, which is X Islands, and there's also the red one, which is called a Red Wing X Islands. I'm sure there's plenty of other makes and models you can get, but these are cheap and cheerful, and they're the 80mm ones, as you can see there, and they work great. They're lovely and silent, and they both work just as well as each other. It doesn't matter if you go black or red. So undo it, and what we need to do is find where the airflow is going. So you should find, you probably can't quite make that out, but there is a little thing on there that points which direction the airflow is coming. So we want it blowing outwards and not inwards. You don't want it blowing inwards, because otherwise it'll fill your Xbox case with lots of dust and rubbish, and it's not good. It's not good. So always blow the air out. You want to blow the hot air out of your machine. And we need to cut the bottom corners. The reason for that is we need to cut those sections, and then it will clip into, if you remember those little clips we unclipped the original fan from. So we just need to score that. So we're going to score that corner there, and then we're going to score the other corner, and then we'll also have to do the back of it as well. So I'm just going to speed that section up a bit. Right, whilst we're doing this, it's worth noting that actually if you've got a Dremel or some sort of multi-tool like that, you can use that, and you obviously get very good results by using that. But once we've scored it, what we're going to need to do is get a pair of pliers and just break those scored edges off. So there you go, there's one section done there, and then we just go around and break exactly where we've scored. It doesn't give a perfect finish, but basically we will tidy that up. I'm going to use a Dremel after this to tidy that up, but obviously you can use a little junior hacksaw, works well for cutting around that. But yeah, this does basically everything you need, and then tidy those edges up. And what you want is that little there's like a little protruding bit in that corner. There's like a little plastic line, so you need to get it so that it's all sort of flush and that pokes out. So I'll get the Dremel to it and show you what I mean. Okay, so here's the finished article. As you can see, it doesn't have to be perfect. Nobody gets to see it, but you just need those little bits protruding, those two little sections there protruding. And then once you got that, I use Dremel. You can use a junior hacksaw if you want. It doesn't matter. You just clip one side in, get a little screwdriver, and pop the other side in too. And you'll notice that should be flush with the casing, which it is. And if you do manage to break those tabs, don't worry about it. It's not a big problem. Just get some plastic ties and pop them through the screw hole section, top screw hole sections of the fan, and just tie it up against the metal there, and you'll find that holds it in place fine and no problem at all. So I'm just going to put this all back together now, and I'll fast forward this bit. Right, now we've got the power supply, motherboard and everything in place. There's one thing I actually didn't show you. It's the front of the DVD drive. That actually comes off, that little Xbox section, so you can wash that as well. And literally it just kind of unclips from the bottom and then it slides upwards. So we're going to just slide it back on and then it clips into place like so. So there's just two clips underneath where it says sort of Xbox, and you sort of pull it backwards and then slide it up. And that literally just kind of slots into that caddy. There are no screws holding it into place, so that caddy can also go in the wash as well, you know. So just clip that back into place. There you go, and then it's a case of popping it back where it comes from. So we need to put our wires back in there. So we've got the power one, and we've got the not HDMI, sorry, the IDE cable. So once we have all that done, obviously we've got to pop the fan back on as well. So just use the little 3-pin thing that goes on the motherboard, and then the Xbox can actually regulate the temperature. If you plugged it into a main Molex connector, it would just be constantly on all the time. Pop your DVD drive in. Now this can be very fiddly. It needs to slot in exactly. So it needs to slot in so that it is absolutely flush with the outside of the case. So as you can see here, it does require a little bit of jiggery pokery. You know, moving some bits around. You'll know when it's properly slotted in. It will feel right. So as you can see, there's still a bit wonky. I mean, sometimes it goes straight in. Sometimes it can take like 5 minutes. That's looking good. Yeah, I think that's in by the looks of it. Not quite. No. Just had a little feel there, and it wasn't quite flush with the metal trim. So it needs to be sort of dead flush with the plastic and the metal, or else you're not going to be able to shut it properly, the case. And when you're doing this, just be careful not to break any of these, you know, trap any of these wires anywhere, because you know there are a few wires going around. So just bear that in mind. Just be careful of the wires, and remember that screws are going to come up through this as well. So don't have wires where screws are going to be going. Aha, that looks better. That feels a lot better. That seemed to, you can feel there. That's smooth across the top. It's flat, level. Brilliant. So we'll pop that back in there, and now it's just a case of putting the hard drive back in. So I've already screwed it in place in the caddy. Pop those wires back up through the little channel that they fit in, and drop it in. And again, you must make sure that it's dead flat. So again, a little bit more messing around, making sure that it's absolutely spot on flat. And you can see at the back there, that's, well, you probably can't quite make it out of this angle, but you'll be able to see in a minute the section that we cut out for the fan. So it should fit around that nice and snug, so that fan's not going anywhere. But I'm just going to come back to this in a second once I've got that in the right place. Right, that ended up taking me a little longer than expected. That took me about 5 to 10 minutes, but I think I've finally got it all flat now. Everything seems to be level. You can see the fan there is nicely snug in there. And you don't want those wires getting trapped, so just make sure they're sort of out of the way of any kind of screws or anything like that, and we'll know if it's good or not. It will either fit nice or it won't. Now that looks good, very good. You know, you can see at the bottom, if everything's all flush on the corners, you've done it correctly. You know, you can screw it all up. If one of the corners isn't quite fitting down right, it means somewhere along the line something isn't quite lined up. So just go back through it all again and just make sure that everything is dead flush. You know, it's a bit of a pain, but you know, sometimes it all slots into place first time. Majority of the time you do need to wiggle things about a bit, but don't force anything. There's no need to force anything. This will fit perfectly. So once you screwed all this up, basically those little rubber feet that you took off, the glue, you know, it's going to have gone on them. They're not going to be sticky enough to slot back on, most likely, just because, you know, these units are so old. The glue's gone on them, so I would recommend just a little bit of contact adhesive if you've got it, or you know, you could super glue them if you want, but it's optional. You know, you don't even have to put them back on if you don't want to. If you're like me and you're always opening these boxes, then I generally don't bother putting them back on my boxes. But yeah, no, that's it. That's done. You're left with a brilliant, nice, clean, shiny Xbox. Not quite as good as new, but you know, it is a lot better than it was, and you're going to find that's dead silent.